Hey kids, you trying to get into Segment City? Well, you really shouldn't, because Segment City is a mature podcast, and listener discretion is advised. I'm just trying to look at... I know I'm in an alleyway. I know how I look, but I got some fireworks for you kids. I got snakes and I got sparklers. That's all I got. Oh, don't give me that.
As a side note before we start, this can be in there. I don't know. I figured as a New Year's resolution, I might advertise that this podcast exists more than zero amount, like I did last year.
We do. Okay. Do we?
If I actually bother to tell anybody, we might have more listeners. But we do okay.
We do okay with not telling people about the podcast.
Right.
That's true. We don't. Hey, people listening, because this is gonna be in the podcast. Tell your friends. I don't know. People tell us it's a hard pitch, and I sympathize.
Yeah.
It's a comedy podcast where we talk about.
Honestly,
we come up with things every week.
If it's a hard pitch, we really shouldn't. It's nice for people to tell their friends about it, and that's how we're going to get natural growth. But we're still basically at the beginning stages, and we should probably put in some amount of legwork here. We're go tell your friends, but also
I do the intro every weweek.
I know, but we're hey, everybody, tell your friends about us. Also, we're not going to tell our friends about us.
People know that we do it. There's a non-zero amount of my friends and family that know about this podcast, but I feel like a certain amount would lose respect for me if they listen.
I was radio silent to my real life people because I didn't want, I don't know, I neglected to mention it to my parents, basically.
Yeah.
I didn't care if they found out, but I also wasn't going to tell them. And they now know, my mom knows. I don't know if she's listened or not, but she hasn't brought it up. So either she A, hasn't listened, or B, more likely, has listened and went, this is not for me, and decided not to mention it.
Good. I think that's great.
But now that the cat is out of the bag, I'm well, may as well, actually try to drum up some interest here.
My girlfriend once started a conversation about the podcast by saying, I don't think I could listen to a full episode without falling asleep. And I went, what? and then she was like, oh wait, I should probably give context that she listens to it while going to sleep. So it's her going to sleep thing. And also apparently our friends that do listen get this weird thing where they think we're talking with them.
Yes.
And they'll sometimes try to chime in.
That's hilarious. Actually, I haven't heard that from them.
Yeah.
Where they try to chime in on the discussion that's happening. Have an opinion too. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's because they hear us talking in real life, and then they're like, wait, I can't do that now. This is just a recording. A recording of Segment City. Welcome to Segment City, everybody.
What an intro.
What an intro.
An expose.
This is a show in which Theo and I present segments each week on a variety of subjects. It's a comedy podcast where you gotta like us a little bit. I think that's part of the pitch.
Well, I would hope that at some point we get to a point where strangers start listening, and then you don't have to know us or like us.
Listen, I don't know anyone in Russia, and somebody in Russia has listened to our podcast.
They are gathering intel.
They are gathering intel, and the intel this week is that we're going to present segments each week. Some are new, some are recurring. My name's Will Kane. Sleepy Boy, Will Kane.
And I'm Chief of the CIA, Theo Sapakos. Yeah, that's right. I've been the mole on the inside the whole time.
Catching all those people.
Yeah.
Well, Theo, we're going to actually start in a we're going to continue our opening from last week. Last week I did, I read some funny article titles that my girlfriend sent me.
Right.
So let's get into part 2 of that. Some funny headlines from 2020. Bolsonaro called his isolation from the coronavirus, quote, horrible, and was shortly afterwards bitten by an emu.
The email was like, I am the defender of coronavirus quarantine. How dare you insult your solitude? You should have focused on self-improvement and discovery.
There's a whole like plot in this because I imagine him being like in a palace being like, it's awful. I only have my umus. Ow. Ooh, ow.
Yeah, he has a literal
got a
palace
zoo.
to quarantine in. Dude, don't complain.
Yeah. Jose Canseco worried Bigfoot or aliens could, quote, get coronavirus. That's a big
Has
worry.
anybody checked in with Bigfoot?
Has anybody... Hey, has anyone got his number?
Anybody? Okay, we're gonna have to go to Bigfoot next episode. I'm gonna have to check in with him and get back to you on that.
Oh, I'm here. I'm good.
Oh, hey, Mr. Bigfoot. Can you catch coronavirus? Have you caught it?
No, but I can get gonorrhea.
Okay, well maybe you should go back into quarantining then. You've been really effectively quarantining up until now.
Yeah, I'm like world champion.
Yeah, you're really
quarantining.
good. It seems
I'm
surprising
out in the open
that you
air.
come.
It's even better.
It seems surprising that you come on our podcast just to tell us that you're good for coronavirus. That
I'm
seems
good.
That seems kind of like a dick move. Like you're kind of just rubbing it in our face at this point.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Bye.
Bigfoot, you know what, Bigfoot? Get the fuck out of here. We
I'm
don't want you
leaving.
here.
I'm already gone.
Next is self-proclaimed Leprechaun Whisperer reveals he's still in contact with the mystical creatures, so this is kind of connected, who only reveal themselves to him, and insists that, quote, they don't have a problem with lockdown.
Oh my god.
That's great. I like that they're just like, well, they can't get me pot of gold if they're inside.
I love the concept of a self-proclaimed leprechaun whisperer. I think that if someone's ever trying to like write an article about you because you do it, like self-proclaimed submarine expert Will gives details on how the newest submarines are actually blimps, and I'd be like, oh yeah, that guy, I know Will, he's a submarine expert, just so they can't go self-proclaimed. I'm gonna save you from the self-proclaimed headline.
That would be an amazing segment, is just the weird things that people have claimed to be on like documentaries and stuff and news reports.
Self-proclaimed.
But imagine being a leprechaun, like, oh no, pixies, I can't do those. Leprechauns,
That's my jam.
I got a little, yeah. I just whisper into a coin, just like, hello, my friend. What are you feeling about Corona? We're feeling good. Oh, okay, great.
All right, great. Glad to hear it.
Countries with more butter have happier citizens. I think that's, you know what? That makes sense.
So a butter-free society has found no happiness.
We are very happy here. We're all buttered up. Oh, it feels so good on my skin and in my foods. Oh, such buttery pastries.
The new plan is for us, instead of some money, we will be sending everyone 600 sticks of butter for the quarantine stimulus. It should make everybody very happy.
Is it salted or not salted? It's a big part.
Ooh, it's got to be salted.
Does it have to? It is a debate. I think there is an argument to be made about adding your own salt. That's just all I'm going to say. But I'm very happy here in Bavaria.
Bavaria.
Bavaria. Where you're going to just be pooping out whole sticks of butter. Drake ravaged with insults about his back tattoos. Quote, they look like a Zoom meeting. I don't think I've seen Drake's back tattoos.
I haven't either, but I've got to Google them now, because if they look like a Zoom meeting, that's hilarious. It is just a bunch of faces.
Is it just a bunch of faces?
It's a bunch of different faces. There's like 3 or 4 different faces on there. I could totally... What a sick burn. It just looks like a Zoom meeting. It's hilarious.
Oh. A ghost is the perfect quarantine sex partner.
That's called being alone. We're gonna call it like it is.
Oh, somebody's grabbing my hand and is using my hand to grab my junk.
No,
this is crazy.
I'm not doing this. It's
ghosts.
It's ghosts, Mom.
Mom, it's ghosts. Get out of my room.
Yeah, actually, quarantine has been my most sexually active period. I figured out that my room is haunted, and it's been wild.
It's just like people think that you need another person. And you know what? There's another person here. Hey, can we talk about that scene in Ghostbusters? That one scene. Do you know that one scene I'm talking about?
The one scene where they based the whole movie off of, where busting makes me feel good. Yeah,
busting
we can talk.
Makes me feel good.
We can talk about that scene.
Why? I didn't know what that meant.
Turns
when I was a
out
child.
Slimer is very sexually active, and he's just been waiting for the boys to get home and have some time for themselves to make this known. You know what?
Oh wow!
Bustin' makes Slimer feel great.
I'm talking, of course, about the scene where one of the Ghostbusters, I think it's Ray, he's sleeping and then his pants get unzipped by a ghost, and then he wakes up and his eyes cross. And I didn't understand it when I was a kid. I knew it was something, but it's a little bit bad.
It's a little bit bad.
It's a little bit bad.
I'm gonna let you know, I haven't watched Ghostbusters in a long time, and I don't have like scene for scene memory.
Yeah, that's one of the scenes and that's it. So so you're saying Slimer's the one that did that?
It was
with his big mouth.
Slimer and his big mouth. You know what that mouth is for?
It's ugh. Animals keep evolving into crabs, which is somewhat disturbing.
What does this mean?
I don't know. I've been thinking about this for so long.
Turns out Kingler is actually the best Pokemon. It's not Mewtwo. It's fucking Kingler this whole time. Every Pokemon is Kingler.
Like, is there some scientist that is looking at sheets and he's like, oh God, oh God, they're all turning into crabs. I gotta tell somebody. And then
he's got a notebook full of drawings, and each one of them is like an Animorph drawing, but it's just all the animals turning into crabs. And he's flipping the pages wildly. He's like, no.
I need to tell somebody. And then there's a crab with a silence pistol. Just like, you can't.
Snip.
Snips them. You're getting snipped. Does that mean that humans will eventually become crabs? They're just the ultimate life form?
You know what they say? When you reach the end of your life, you turn into a crab and you scuttle into the sky.
I'm feeling pretty crusty lately.
You're feeling crusty? You might die and turn into a crab.
I got an exoskeleton. AI camera operator repeatedly confused bald head for soccer ball during live stream. So just constantly following him. Nothing else to really say. Going with this, Pope Francis urges followers to pray that AI and robots, quote, always serve mankind.
That seems like he's asking for it. Hey, boys, is he asking for it? Sounds like he's asking for it.
He might be asking for it. Rats besieged New York Chipotle, eating avocados and attacking staff. Hey, we're here. Give us your avocados.
The rats in New York have finally realized that if they band together, nothing can stop them.
Yeah, what are you going to do against some fucking rats? I'm not going to fight them.
Listen, I'm not dying for Chipotle. I'll tell you that much. I'm not trying. There are some places I would die for, not Chipotle.
Not Chipotle. Imagine being an employee like, oh, they're paying me nothing.
They're paying me nothing. And then you just look at the grill and there's a rat on the stovetop and you're like, I'm fucking done here.
Yeah, they come in with leather jackets, like pompadours, and they're like, hey, you
got some nice looking avocados there. Shave if someone were to scurry up and bite them, huh?
And try to, these aren't ripe enough. What are you trying to do to me? You trying to give me a condition? I already got 20 conditions, including the plague. What are you doing to me? You. Man requests sword fight with ex-wife and lawyer to settle legal dispute.
Sounds about right. Must be in Florida.
Yep. On God, for my honor. These foul-mouthed parrots had to be separated after cursing in wildlife park visitors. So, fuck you. What?
What?
This is a bunch of just bad birds.
Bad boys.
Just bad boys. Universe shouldn't exist, said CERN scientists. What are we doing here?
This shouldn't exist. This paper towel shouldn't exist. This cup of coffee none of this should exist. My wife shouldn't exist. Nothing.
Just goes on a rooftop. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. What are we doing here?
Yes, I'm deep in debt, but it's nothing to do with that.
And finally, I feel like this is a good wrap up to 2020. The article title is, "And now a sinkhole full of rats."
I saw that one. Horrifying.
Did you actually see that?
I saw the news article for when it came out.
That
That's
there's
pretty
a
horrifying.
sinkhole full of rats?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I got. So let's go to your segment, Theo.
I hope that 2021 provides us with even more rats than 2020 did.
Can we just talk? I think everybody was like getting high off of the like, well, 2021 can't be worse. And then it's worse. Like, I don't know why people are like,
Why would you say
boom,
that? You're literally
January
asking for
1st. Oh my God, it's so much better now.
It's so much
Wow.
better. You feel it be better. Oh, it's so much better.
And instead of us rolling down in a flaming barrel down a hill. Anyway, your segment.
My segment. It's time to return to eBay Oddities for another edition.
Ooh.
This time we've got a hot, spicy item. It's been viewed 8 times per hour, so it's might be going fast. I'll just cut right to it.
Yeah, go
It
for it.
is a creepy angel baby, oddity, weird, bizarre, folk art, Halloween, scary.
Okay, I don't think you need to add scary. I think that's self-explanatory.
It's literally the title is just
Baby.
a comma delineated list of different descriptors: oddity, weird, bizarre, folk art, Halloween, scary.
Folk art.
Is folk art? I don't know if this counts as folk art.
I don't think it's folksy. I don't think it has like folksy charm of like, I whittled this little baby angel devil doll.
So what the item is, if I had to describe it to you, it looks like a
nightmare.
it looks like a torn up gray kind of dress with some that is draped around some ceramic wings. And then there is indeed a creepy angel head that is in the place you would expect coming out of the neck hole. But attached to the baby head appears to be what looks like a Halloween wolf's mask that has been taped up and stapled onto the baby's face.
Okay, so they're adding a little bit of their own maybe that's the folk art aspect.
Yes, that is the
werewolf.
The staples are extremely clear. Like, you could just see the staples sticking out of this baby's face. It's not great.
You can't work too hard. Like, if you try too hard at making it creepy, then it kind of falls through. That kind of takes away from it. I'm gonna have to haggle now with the. Is that how it works? eBay? I don't know.
Or best offer.
Best offer.
Oh, I just realized there's another picture I didn't see before, and just the main photo is a zoomed in version, but this other photo I just found zoomed out. You can just see the edge of a natty light just in the corner of the picture, and
Perfect.
it is opened. So it's got that going for it.
How about they spent a whole night taking picture of this baby?
That's right. They sure did.
How much is this going for?
Well, we got to get through a little bit of the background
that's
information.
and I'm jumping ahead.
You're jumping ahead. You always do. He's jumping ahead.
I'm always do. You got me.
All right. So it says price to sell with no reserve. That's right. Winner take all. Excuse me. What do you... How do you think buying something works?
Listen, if you come in with a low bid, maybe I'll give it to you.
You're sitting at the diner counter and you're like, yeah, I'll have eggs and some toast. And they're like, oh, sorry, we already agreed that 50% of your eggs are going to the guy down the end of the counter. And some guy's like, hello, I just bought your eggs. No, my eggs.
Why do you only have 2 eggs on this whole damn place?
You should have signed the waiver that says winner take all.
Damn it. God damn it.
It says, keep an eye out for my other quote-unquote heavenly auctions.
Oh. Getting a little too clever there.
It says, my stuff is acquired from my construction job, donations, garage, estate sales, and anywhere else that treasure is found. What do you mean?
Trash.
Trash.
He's giving trash.
He's giving trash.
You don't get treasure from a construction job. Like, oh, I found the Holy Grail underneath this duplex that we're building.
I'll head over to eBay.
Yeah, to sell this disgusting doll.
Being found, these things are used and may have wear, including dirt, nicks, surface rust, tarnish, scratches, rips, holes, marks, and overall usage. What he didn't add was urine and blood.
Oh, God.
All right, Will. We have our final our final guess by you here. Given what you know about this.
That is garbage little baby that he stapled a werewolf mask to.
And while drinking an Addy Light, yes. So
While
you have all the facts.
Uh-huh.
How much would you pay for this?
How much? What? That's a different number than
no,
I would pay.
No. You're right. You're right. That is an entirely different question. How much is this individual asking for?
This person is asking for $30.
You're close. If you were to multiply it by about 9, they're asking for $225.
Are you fucking kidding me?
$225.
Are you kidding me? No.
Yes.
No. Okay. Wait. No. How many bids? Is this like buy it now, or is this like it's been
it's
bid
buy
up?
it now, $225.
What the fuck?
Yep.
I thought it was going high with 30. Gee, like I would pay $5 for this.
I don't know what to tell you.
Listen, we're gonna get rich off of this baby doll. It's gonna be great. We'll buy a new. I'm gonna get a new cat, a new bulldozer for the construction company.
All I have to do is staple this mask to this other baby, and that's it.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Imagine living in that bubble.
You'll be happy to know that among the items that this user has sold include a mummified gray squirrel.
Okay.
That he sold for $50. Who in their right mind buys a dead animal for $50?
For 50 smackaroonies.
It just looks nasty.
Because it is nasty. It's a nasty, disgusting.
It disturbs me to know that there are items like this floating around in our mail system.
That there's dead animals, yes.
Like my
mummified.
Yeah, like my whatever I order protein powder. That's a lie. I don't work out. But okay, you know what? You got me. My tub of butter. I'm a happy boy, but my tub of butter is sitting on the truck next to a mummified squirrel.
Yes, join us. Put the butter on the squirrel and it comes back to life. That's how it works.
He becomes a happy boy.
He fattens up again.
Well, you know what's getting shipped around in Segment City?
What?
Our next segment.
Well, that doesn't really lead into mine. But
you know what?
You shipped it to me. You handed it to me. You threw the ball.
I made you sign for it. And here you go. It's yours now.
It is mine now. Theo, back during Thanksgiving, we did a bracket of the best Thanksgiving foods.
Right.
This is not a food-based segment, but it is a bracket. We're going to have a tournament of the best fantasy worlds.
Ooh.
Fantasy and sci-fi bracket.
I'm here for it.
Now, I'm going to give disclaimers before we start this. These are 16 of the ones I've chosen. Okay. I have left stuff out that I don't know about, and I feel like you don't know about. No Wheel of Time, no Discworld. I don't know about those. I'm sorry, people who are fans of those series.
Well, you're going to get some tweets. Well, actually,
Discworld's the best world there is.
Yes, actually.
2, you get the final say on who moves forward, but I will argue with you.
I appreciate that. That's what we did for the other one. So
yes, I will make arguments, but let's start it off with a bang. I think this one's going to promote a lot of discourse. Azeroth from World of Warcraft versus Hyrule from Legend of Zelda.
I'm going to come out the gate here and just say I'm extremely biased.
Yeah, I know. I knew immediately.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to end up with ours, but mostly my ranking. And while I can respect Azeroth and all of, I feel like the lore behind Azeroth is almost impossible to beat. Like, there's just been so much time put into developing the lore for that world that it's definitely super rich. But if you're going to go with my pick, it's going to be Hyrule.
I think they're a good contrast because one feels like it's too big. Azeroth at this point is way too big. There's too much lore. Hyrule doesn't have all that much lore. I was thinking about it, and I'm like, you got Zoras, you got Gorons, you got all the main things. It's the same plot every time. There's the Triforce, there's heroes.
Right. The thing about Hyrule that's interesting is like they sort of reinvent it game to game. Like Hyrule can sort of be whatever within certain parameters. You're right.
Yeah.
There are certain like given like Triforce, Ganon, Zelda's there. Maybe she's asleep. Maybe she's dead. Link's there. Like you have the staples, but it's fluid, and that's interesting to me.
You can also get like a Majora's Mask in there where it's like a weird thing where it's like, we're going to crash the moon into the planet. And you're like, wait, what? And the moon has a face? I respect Hyrule. I'm not like, I knew you were going to come in this bias. You don't like World of Warcraft.
Well, it's not that I don't like it. I just literally, I don't have any experience with it. Like,
yeah, that's, I think Azeroth is also interesting because I feel like it dug itself into a hole where they kept on having to add things, and it's like even me who's like a fan, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? It is
There's
like
a
huge world,
lifetime's
and
worth
that's a
of
lot.
reading about that world to really know everything.
Yeah, so I respect that. It is Hyrule who wins that. Next, the Land of Oz versus, this is an odd pairing, the world of The Witcher, because there doesn't seem to be a name for it.
Just the Witcher world.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Geralt. Welcome back to Witcher World.
Hey, you want me to hunt somebody for you?
Can I get you some fried dough?
Imagine if Geralt just looked like a actual exterminator. He's just like got a pot belly.
Hey, I'm Gerald.
Yeah, boss wants me to use these have-a-heart traps on these griffins, but fuck that. I'm just going to shoot them with my crossbow and then slice them and dice them. Come on.
Listen, I got some discount potions. I've been using some weird oils. Like, we don't do that. We do the best job we can.
So, Wizard of Oz, the Land of Oz.
Land of Oz, which there are books. There's only one. There's multiple movies. There's two movies.
Right.
So it expands on it. Versus the world of The Witcher, which is kind of a weird Eastern European. Uses monsters, magic, pretty stuff we kind of know.
Yeah, it kind of falls into the same kind of fantasy.
Yeah.
I think that the Land of Oz is less generic fantasy. And so it's a little more, because of its uniqueness, it kind of is appealing to me in this matchup.
Yeah.
Where like you say things like, you could just say flying monkeys and people are like, I know what that is. Like I fully know what that is. And like flying monkeys are a thing that are totally unique to the Land of Oz, pretty much. I mean, they've got that, maybe there are flying monkeys elsewhere, but they have the marquee spot on that. And like the munchkins and I don't know, I think I'm inclined to say Land of Oz here. I think it's a little more run of the mill. I mean, it's definitely classic, but it's sort of one of a kind.
Yeah, I agree with that. Land of Oz, I think, has a more unique flair to it than Witcher.
Witcher
does.
falls into one of those things where it's like, it is a fantasy world that has a lot of lore that I'm just like not that interested in when I play the game, because I'm like, I'm not willing to get invested in this specific fantasy game because there's so many like it that it's not worth my time to like really deep dive because I don't love it.
I didn't play the games. I watched the show on Netflix and they introduced dwarves and I was like, are these like Tolkien dwarves? Like what? I didn't know there were dwarves in this. Like, are there elves? And they're like, yeah, there's elves. And I'm like, wait, I didn't know that this was like, the world is kept on like mystifying to me in not like a great way where I was like, oh, this is just elves. And like, it lost a little bit.
This is Tolkien, right? This is Tolkien.
Yeah. So Land of Oz wins that round.
All right.
Now, the galaxy far away from Star Wars,
strong contender,
versus the Alpha Quadrant, which is what I'm just naming the world of Star Trek.
I mean, Theo's personal pick, like.
Yeah, and this was a hard one because I'm going to make an argument for Star Trek. You don't watch Star Trek.
I know that Star Trek probably has a more well-developed and more interesting lore. I'm sure it does, because there's also like more content for Star Trek out there, and I think it was written...
Debatable.
Well, I mean, unless you're
Star Trek
unless you're including like graphic novels and stuff for Star Trek.
I include like everything.
Okay, then maybe it's on par 1-to-1. Maybe Star Wars is blown out of the water. I don't really know, but like, I think maybe you might have something for Star Trek because Star Wars is written for the mainstream, and so rather than making scientific hard rules for the universe, they make basically popular opinions. Like they basically make things that are popular be the rules of the universe. Like, that's my criticism with the most recent trilogy, right? But I also don't have very much knowledge about the Star Trek universe. So like, you're free to make
Yeah.
your argument by all means.
Star Trek is a more realistic universe. There's actual rules as opposed
Right.
to Star Wars, where the First Order can just kind of rise, and
Right.
it's the same thing of like there's always an evil empire,
Right.
There's
And you can
always,
sort of
like,
hand wave
resistance.
things that happen because of the Force.
There's cool stuff. The difference between Star Wars and Star Trek is that Star Wars is science fantasy, with it has magical powers and knights and stuff.
Right.
Star Trek is science fiction,
Right.
where it has hand wavy, like we have warp drives, but it's like stuff you could imagine actually existing. Of
Right.
like, oh, we just haven't found the science. We haven't found the Force. Like we're never going to find the Force. There's like a map that I look up sometimes for Star Trek because it's like the Federation, and then there's like this is the Klingon Empire, this is the Romulan Empire, this is the Cardassian Empire. There's all
Right.
these like different factions that are all fighting. I think it is a more consolidated universe, and it's more political. Of like there's actual realistic like boundaries going on, and technology will like go forward. Whereas I think Star Wars is in a rut, and I think that the world isn't expanding, like that you can kind of see in the sequel trilogy.
I totally agree with everything you're saying.
But I think you're still going to go with Star Wars,
Well,
which is
I don't
fine.
know. I mean, the pitch that you have given me has made me been like, that is the way you have described it is like, I like that idea. Like there's like a world established and you're getting told stories, as opposed to like the world is kind of fluid and we're going to tell you the story, but we're going to have the world adapt to what we need to have the story do. So this is a tough one. Tough one.
I mean, if people have been fighting about this for a long time. Either way, I'm fine with this is one that I'm like, I understand either. Like,
I'll go.
if you go-
I'll sleeper pick. I'll go Star Trek.
you're going
I'll go-
Star Trek.
I'll go
I didn't
Star
expect that.
Yeah, you've swayed me. Your opinion counts here.
Next is the Wasteland from Fallout versus the Mass Effect universe, which is just the Milky Way. Fallout versus Mass Effect. Have you played Mass Effect?
I have, but it's been a while. And when I played it, I didn't like go all in, learn everything about the universe.
Yeah, but you know enough.
But
That's
I
why
know enough.
I put this in, because I'm like, he probably knows.
It's a
enough about
similar
this.
thing, right? Where it's similar to Star Trek, where like there are different races that have their different factions, that have their different governments, and you're sort of like a player in all of that political landscape, right? Fallout is interesting. There's less of a like it's more divided up into just different like bands of factions of like kind of like marauders. I think the whole subplot of like the Institute like being an entity is pretty cool. And like you sort of feel the invisible hand of like who is crafting all of these different vaults and stuff, and all the like the kind of like the drama that's happening underneath the surface. I think I'll go Fallout.
Okay.
But it's an interesting matchup.
All right. So the Wasteland wins that one.
The Wasteland wins that one.
Neverland versus Wonderland.
Neverland, so Peter Pan and Alice in
Peter
Wonderland.
Pan versus Alice in Wonderland.
I think Alice in Wonderland is just so iconic, you can't really beat it.
I think that's fair. There's so much goofy, weird shit.
There's so
in Alice
much
in Wonderland.
weird stuff that is just like...
There are rules to Neverland, but they never go as wild.
Right, exactly.
That's
It feels like almost a tamer version, yeah.
Yeah. The Four Nations from Avatar: The Last Airbender versus the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
That's a tough matchup. That's two powerful seeds right there.
Yeah, I have to match Neverland versus Wonderland is like tier
Right.
like that. I had to match them. This one's hard.
Oh man, I mean, I've just spent. Those are two things where each one has four options, right? 4 houses, 4 nations,
Yeah.
and so there's so much debate about like what would you be if you were in either of those universes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those are both iconic from our childhoods. I think I go Harry Potter, and I think that
You go Harry Potter.
I think it's because ultimately I'm interested in Aang's story in the Avatar universe. but I'm less interested in the world and I'm more interested in his story. Whereas in Harry Potter, I'm equally as interested in the story as I am with like just the world. Just the world is interesting to me.
I personally would go with the Four Nations because Harry Potter, if you look at the world, comes up with a lot of weird questions because it's also in the real world.
Totally. Yeah.
I think Wizarding World has gotten huge because of like it's great at world building because everyone wants what house. Everyone knows what house they're in. Right. Everybody wants those magical powers. Everyone wants to go to Hogwarts. Four Nations, I agree. I think like Legend of Korra kind of shows like I think the world of Legend of Korra is super cool, and that's like after Avatar: The Last Airbender.
That's interesting. I definitely was not as hooked by the world of Korra. Like
really,
yeah, I thought the whole subplot, or like I guess the whole plot of like merging the spirit world with the real world, quote unquote real world, like that didn't really catch me, and I thought that like they sort of babied down the spirit world that we knew from the original trilogy to like make it like, oh, this is a big deal merging with the spirit world, but spirits also are nice and fluffy bunnies now. I
think there's like also Wizarding World has like Fantastic Beasts, which I guess would be the equivalent, and I don't like this.
I agree with you. I'm not super in on the Fantastic Beasts, but like when in the Fantastic Beasts movie, when they visit the American magical embassy or whatever it is, like I was like, that's super cool. Like I would love to see like the different topical, like exactly. I got like the neat points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's fair. Westeros versus Tamriel from Elder Scrolls.
Westeros versus Tamriel.
Westeros from
Tamriel is like another one of those worlds that has infinite lore if you're willing to go find it if you want.
There's like different nations, they all have different races in them with an empire in the middle.
Yeah, I think that Westeros is more interesting to me because like the history of it is very gritty and Middle Ages themed. Like it's not a bright, like not a lot of bright things happen. Like it's just grim. Like the history of the whole world is just grim. Like there's a big focus on the Mad King, who his whole thing was just killing a lot of people, and that left a mark. And people like still fear that. And I think there's some, I have fond memories of Game of Thrones. I know it left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, as did it left a bad taste in mine, like the way they ended it. But like you got to admit that for 6 seasons of television, they really pulled something off that I think was unique to almost any property.
I will go with that answer. I think because even on a visceral level, I finished Game of Thrones. Everyone had the bad taste. I still went back and finished the books. I still wanted to live in that world, even if it's like in the good times of the books, not the good times, it's terrible times, but like the better stories of the books.
Right.
I wanted to live in there for Tamriel, Skyrim and like Oblivion. Those are just all the world. And so it's like, and Skyrim, I don't usually stick with them.
Something about them is that it's sort of a choose your own adventure book. And so not everybody has a clear same narrative that they're like, wasn't it amazing when X happened? And so because of that, I feel like the overall lore of the world gets lost a little bit, gets watered down a little bit.
Okay, so Westeros wins. This one's tough. Narnia versus Middle Earth.
Middle Earth is like the trump card. Like you just can't beat Middle Earth.
No, you can't. This one was one of those that I'm like, I have to match these two because one, they came out around the same time. I feel like people compare them a lot.
Middle Earth is the gold standard, is the top seed in this race.
Well, now,
so we'll see what happens. Some interesting matchups.
Maybe it's just like who comes in second now.
Right. We'll see.
Okay, so back to Hyrule versus the Land of Oz.
So we sort of gave some consideration to Hyrule because it had this fluid sort of dynamic going for it.
Yeah.
But in this case, I think that like the Land of Oz, the quirks and the rules it has and the creativity it has puts it above Hyrule in my mind. It's a more of a definitively defined world than Hyrule is. Like when I think about the Land of Oz versus the Land of versus Hyrule, I think of the Land of Oz as so much more of almost more of a fleshed out place to be.
I think it has more specifics, whereas
it has more specifics. More that's fluid.
Fair. I think I just have more memories of Hyrule. Land of Oz feels like it has stories in it, but like once you're done with the stories, than of like Dorothy and stuff. It's like, okay, we're done with the world, kind of. I don't know.
I mean, Hyrule really, for me, up until the Breath of the Wild really made Hyrule feel like a living, breathing place. Up until then, it was like Link goes from dungeon to dungeon and does things.
It's always the same dungeons, like water.
Yeah,
fire,
I mean that's super.
Like,
it makes for fun games, but it's also like the world is just the dungeons. Like I don't feel like Hyrule really had an identity outside of like what bosses are there in each dungeon.
okay.
You know.
Okay, so Land of Oz wins that one. The Alpha Quadrant from Star Trek versus the Wasteland from Fallout.
I feel like you give Star Trek. I mean, it was a tough matchup versus Star Wars, but Star Trek definitely comes out ahead of
I think
Fallout.
Fallout has definitely been also slipping in terms
Agreed.
So Star Trek wins that one. That was a quick one. Wonderland versus the Wizarding World.
Wizarding World.
That's not even a competition. Sorry, Alice in Wonderland. You got like two stories.
That's the thing, though. Like
That's
this is a generational thing where I think if you asked like our parents' generation, it might be Alice in Wonderland. Although maybe Wizarding World has had such a significant cultural impact that even they would agree that, yeah.
Westeros versus Middle Earth.
Middle Earth. Got it. I mean,
yeah, I know. I know it's the trump card to everything.
It's not only that, but like the final bad taste that Westeros brought up, like it is
versus
in
the
such
great taste that
exactly
Middle Earth
such
gives.
sharp contrast to the perfect like conclusion of how Middle Earth. I mean, we're comparing individual stories in this world and not the world itself, but I mean, it's sort of impossible to separate the two when you're talking about.
I think Middle Earth has more imagination and created the entire elves, dwarves, like dragons, blah blah blah.
Right.
Westeros is just kind of, it takes some of that, like it's really indebted to Tolkien.
Totally.
And with that like historical flair, which
right.
is a different flavor of grit to it.
Right.
Okay, so Land of Oz versus Star Trek.
Wow, Star Trek's really going to make it far.
Really?
I'm impressed. Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. Like, Star Trek, I think, wins again here. Like,
yeah. I think in terms of just content,
this
it's
is
a
exactly
bigger
this
world
is where
that has more
you get
thought.
to a point where its depth really is going to bring it forward through a couple of rounds here.
Yeah,
because there's just so much definition to what's been brought to it. Because you're right, the amount of content.
I think there's like, you can make arguments against Star Trek. I think in terms of Land of Oz, I think Land of Oz has a more distinct like look. Well, even that is hard to say. Like Star Trek has literal generations of looks.
It's true, but Wizard of Oz and the Land of Oz is so deeply rooted in like
the
1950s
Technicolor,
technical, exactly. So it has a very singular, unique look, whereas Star Trek, you're right, has a couple of different generations of look.
Okay, so Star Trek gets Wizarding World versus Middle Earth. This is just like
this is juggernauts.
Yeah, these are juggernauts just like duking it out now.
I mean, like we said, like Middle Earth feels like it's the top seed here because when you get to two worlds that are both this rich and so full of character, you start to be like, okay, well, Harry Potter asks a lot of questions that it doesn't answer nicely. And that's really where Middle Earth shines, right? It brings up questions and then it provides hard and fast, satisfying answers to the questions that it brings up.
Middle Earth has languages written about it,
right,
where J.K. Rowling just kind of took lazy Latin and put it in. I think that's the difference in like that we're going to have to get into.
It's pop culture Latin.
This is a surprise. Last two of Star Trek, the Alpha Quadrant versus Middle Earth.
Do we think this is surprising? Like if you were ranking overall fantasy science fiction worlds, like I think Harry Potter, Star Trek, and Middle Earth might be your top three regardless. I think we're coming.
I thought it was going to be Star Wars versus Middle Earth. That's what I thought it was going to come down to. I am personally happy that it came to Star Trek.
If it was Star Wars or Star Trek, I think Middle Earth beats either of them.
Yes, I do too. Right. I think Middle Earth is the champion. Of course, it's too good.
It's too good.
It's the like MVP. Like when you have a fucking entire book that is just the lore of your world written by the original author, it's like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, it's so good that just talking about it in this conversation makes me want to go like either watch a movie or play a game in that universe, right?
It's great. Anyway, so that took up a lot of time, but
that was fun though. I like that. That was really fun. Yeah. Well, thank you, Will, for bringing us through that. That was really fun. I love that. And we get to move from some of the highest form of entertainment that we enjoy to the lowest form. Oh, no. Celebrity gossip. From the highest highs.
Are we figuring out what's happened to Drake Bell again?
No, we're going to talk about... I've got a little quiz for you here. It's a celebrity baby name quiz. It's time to play celebrity baby names.
Oh, this is
Will cue the music.
No, I'm not cueing the music.
Turn off the music.
Turn off the music. Oh, no.
So here I've got a collection of names, last names omitted, of course, for some of the picks that celebrities have chosen for their children.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you the baby name, and you're going to have to tell me one or both of the parents. You're not going to get any points, but it's fun to think about, right?
Okay, yeah. I'm going to get all these wrong, but it's fine.
All right. So in our first round, we have Lyra Antarctica.
Okay, Lyra Antarctica sounds like a character from His Dark Materials.
Lyra Antarctica.
I'm Lyra Antarctica. So I have to guess the parents?
Yeah.
This is impossible.
Basically, just come up with a celebrity that you think would be goofy enough to name their child
this.
that.
Elton John.
Close, but not at all.
Really?
No.
Okay.
It is Ed Sheeran's child.
Fuck you, Ed Sheeran, you
fuck you.
Ginger jerk.
Whoa, that got so personal so fast.
I hate him.
You ginger. All right. Next up we have Radix.
Radix?
Raddix.
I'm Radix, and I'm the new Orc Warlord.
Destroyer of worlds. Radix. It sounds like a Cybertron.
It sounds like a Dragon Ball Z character. Raditz. Fuck.
Or what is a Decepticon? A Cybertron. Radix definitely does sound like a Decepticon.
Radix sounds like... I'm going to say a rapper would have... Is that off?
Maybe I should give you the category of... This is a singer-songwriter's child.
Okay, I'm going to say...
Let me double check that that's true. I'm not... Yes.
Celine Dion?
Ooh, Cameron Diaz.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
That's terrible.
That's terrible, Cameron.
Radix Diaz?
Radix Diaz. You really did a shit job there, Cameron.
Fuck, that's bad.
All right, next up. You might actually know this one. Child of an actor. Kal-El.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yes, I'm not kidding you. They chose Kal-El.
Kal-El.
The name of Superman.
Nicolas Cage.
That is Nick Cage. Ding, ding,
yeah.
ding, ding. Yes, you get a point. Nick Cage's child is Kal-El Cage.
Imagine being Nicolas Cage's child and being weirder somehow. He made him... It's like, you're already going to be weird. Because Nicolas Cage is a fucking weirdo.
Have you seen the pictures of him walking around with his child in streets of LA? It's hilarious.
And they're just wearing weird shit.
And you're like, he's a fucking weirdo.
We'd be a fun dad.
All right, this one actually a reasonably decent name. Child of an actor. Sunday Molly.
Sunday Molly.
Yes.
I'm gonna say that's Snoop Dogg.
No.
He wants that Sunday Molly.
Sunday Molly. That is a child of Mike Myers.
What?
Yes. Sunday Molly Myers.
Silly. That's
a
silly one.
This is the child of another singer-songwriter.
Okay.
And the name is Apollo Bowie Flynn.
Okay.
Apollo Bowie Flynn.
It's not David Bowie because it can't be if he has Bowie.
Imagine if the name was Apollo Bowie Flynn Bowie.
That would be terrible. Oh god. Okay.
I've decided on naming you. Your middle name will also be Bowie because that's how highly I think of our surname.
Oh, I'm gonna say singer-songwriter. Avril Lavigne.
It's Gwen Stefani.
Oh, okay.
Apollo Bowie Flynn Stefani.
That's a bad name. I'm gonna say.
All right, this one This is a child of two singer-songwriter rappers.
Okay.
Named Culture Chiari. 2 Ks. Culture with a K.
Culture.
And Chiari with a K. Nominated for Name Most Likely to Be in the Next Mortal Kombat.
It's not Beyonce, is it?
No, they have
it's
Blue Ivy. That's not on this list.
Yeah, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Both of them are singer-song rapper. I don't know. This I gotta say something. What's a couple that's?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Just try to come up with a rapper because you're trying to search your knowledge of celebrity celebrity couples, and you're like, oh god,
I'm failing.
If you actually, Will, the fact that you're not getting any of these means the world to me. If you knew these, I would reevaluate you as a friend.
Oh no. I'm gonna say it's the child of Exhibit.
That would be hilarious, but it's actually Cardi B and Offset.
Fuck them.
All right. Next one is a child of an actress / lifestyle guru, and its name is Apple.
Just Apple?
Apple.
Oh, that's Gwyneth Paltrow?
It is, unfortunately. Chris Martin and Gwyneth Paltrow. Apple Martin.
That I knew only because of the lifestyle guru.
Yes, that was a little hint. All right, this is a singer of. This is a DJ, child of a DJ.
Okay,
and their name is Laser Lee Louis Pence.
DJ Khaled.
No, that would be amazing.
Fuck.
Laser Lee Louis Pence Khaled.
Who is it then?
Laser. Also, Laser with a Z. Let's add that.
Laser
Lee. Maybe it's Louis. I said Louis, but Louis Pence. Think more EDM.
I don't know. Deadmau5?
It is Diplo, the child of
Diplo.
Diplo.
Okay.
That's I'm gonna wrap it there because there are more, but I think I'm gonna hold them for another round of this. You've got one, and I think that getting one is even better than I expected.
I got 2.
Did you get 2?
I got Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh, you got Gwen Stefani. You got Gwen Stefani, and you got Nicolas Cage. You got 2, incredible. Yeah. That's way better than I thought you would do.
Well, I'm just a smart boy. I'd do great on Jeopardy.
Call him Man About Town, Willie Kane.
Man About Town, Will
Boy
Kane.
About Town.
A big top hat on. I'm ready to go. Get my mask on when we're leaving Segment City. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Segment City. Remember, if you want to send us a message, send it to segmentcitypodcast@gmail.com. Hit up our Twitter @segmentcity or our YouTube, Segment City. Leave us a review, leave us a rating, share it with your friends. We love receiving all these things. And we would like to give something to our good friend,
Rachel Robinson. And what we're giving her is a big thank you, Rachel, who has a pretty normal name. Nothing like Culture Chiari, if we're being honest.
Culture Chiari?
That's what one of the names was.
Wow.
I
can't. I forgot.
You forgot already. You acted shocked, and I just revealed that name to you like 3. Oh, wow.
Wow. One of them is Owen Wilson, I swear to God.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Wow, Wilson. We're going to name our child
son.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. It's my son. Wow.
Thank you to Rachel. She wrote our intro music and is a fabulous individual. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess is the and what do we get if this podcast was a baby? What would we name it?
We name it fucking Bronco, one word. Fucking Bronco, one word.
I was gonna say piece of shit.
Oh, okay.
Piece of shit city.
We can combine it. Pizza Bronco, baby.
Pizza Bronco. That's how we're gonna end.